Two clubs, one dream. Tooradin, Dalmore and Phillip Island have toiled all year long and their work has been well worth. All the gruelling, arduous training sessions, all the camaraderie among the players needs to be channeled today because the final gift is up for grabs. It's the 2022 West Gippsland Football League Grand Final, brought to you by Totally Workwear Gippsland, first v second. Tooradin Dalmore 17-1 in the regular season. Their only loss coming to Phillip Island in the final stages of the regular season. And Phillip Island 16-2, one of those losses also against Tooradin Dalmore. And in the final series, the elimination finals, both sides were able to avoid them, obviously, because they were the top two seeds. And Tooradin Dalmore beat Phillip Island 82-45 in the semi-final by 37 points. Remarkable efforts all round. They trailed at half-time. They also trailed at quarter-time. But in the second half, they kicked 10 goals straight to 1-5. A devastating run, which allowed them to advance directly into the preliminary final. And we know about last week for Phillip Island. Tied at the end of the fourth quarter, 45 apiece. And in extra time, a goal after the siren, kicked by Orlando Kane-Gillard, enabled them to advance to today. And for Tooradin Dalmore, they have not seen the success of a trophy for 25 years. Back in 1997, they'll need individual efforts by everybody. Brent McCaffrey beginning in the midfield. And Phillip Island, their last senior premiership was 2019 when there was a grand final. So they're hoping to go back-to-back. So we'll see one of these stories. Either a back-to-back win for Phillip Island or Tooradin Dalmore after a quarter of a century. But now it's up to them. Umpire Holton in his hands. The ultimate prize is up for grabs. And in the ruck right, but it's slashed forward by Phillip Island. McCaffrey barreled into in the tackle. Here's McKenna. He's in the side today. Hand pass out to Hill and across the far wing they go. Bounce obliged for Butler and he takes it out of bounds. In the opening seconds, Tooradin have been able to get under their opponent's skin in the first quarter, and most of the weeks this year, Phillip Island are able to do it to them in the semi-final. Trezise spinning around and tossing a high one up in the air and attacking the footy. Unable to take the mark with Suarez, who's also back in the side today. We'll have another boundary throw in. Two changes for the Seagulls. Luke McKenna and Julian Suarez in, and Xavier Shinners out along with Christopher Sabatucci. We're in Tooradin Dalmore's forward line for the first time today. Strong tackle in the umpire. No hesitation to call the whistle. We've already seen Tooradin Dalmore in the reserves win. That was the previous game. Slapped up, calling for deliberate. Zach Vernon. Umpire thought differently. .55 out from the Seagulls' goal. They'd love to get the first in the grand final. Right, knocks it down. Trezise, McCaffrey with a booming kick up to full forward. A dropped mark, which left them vulnerable. Tooradin still attacking, but the Bulldogs come away with the footy. McCaffrey, inexplicable drop in the end because he had easy access to the footy. The ball spills at ground level and the umpire calls for a whistle. We'll do it all again in the exact same position. Ball up. Neither ruckman got a major piece of it. A brutal bump laid on Billy Taylor, and Phillip Island are awarded the free kick. Pedersen elected to take it, but he had to hand it off. Trezise runs behind the mark, and Phillip Island advancing past halfway for their first time today. Dropped mark by Kelly, and Phillip Island's unable to progress any further. We'll have another boundary throw in. Bo Vernon, the coach of Phillip Island, with a major rev-up speech in the pre-game. They were all excited to play this game of footy as Phillip Island head forward again. But their main goal was just to go out, play it like no other game, which is hard to do. An extreme crowd in today, piling from every suburb in the West Gippsland region. Taking it out of the ruck by himself, and now dispossessed was Jack Taylor's teammate. He's been a strong source of goals. They're given a chance, it's shut down. Shuffled kick forward off the deck, but a free kick the way of Adam Oxley, who also has the long sleeves on, has all year. Large congregation of players at the wing. Butler flew from the side, gave the crumb to his teammate who was engulfed by the tackle, but he's taken high. Take a brief moment to analyse the situation ahead. He can switch it, but instead, and alternatively, he goes up the wing again. Scanlon, he's watching on. McKenna nearby. The Bulldogs now up the wing. Suarez. Unconventional sort of hand pass. It may work for them. Joining the throng at the back, unable to take the mark. It was Brewer, and through the middle they go. Parlberg. He'll turn around, whip it onto the right. An open man, Egan, who kicked 3 goals last week or in the semi-final, and now speeding away from his defender, unable to remove him from the equation. Kai McKenzie will have a ball up 50 out from the Seagulls goal. Neither side yet to score. 4.5 minutes through this opening quarter. Pedersen spiking it forward. A 2-on-1. Numbers are with the Bulldogs, collecting it cleanly. And now they hand pass it away. O'Brien had a trip, and his teammates rewarded Eli Richards, given the free kick at centre wing. McCaffrey on the mark. Pedersen bypassing nearly everyone. Takes his time and hoists it into the 50 for the Bulldogs. Back with the fly. Broken up in the air by the defence, but it's still there for the taking. Strong tackle laid by Lenders. We'll have a boundary throw in about 25 metres out. Instead it'll be a free kick. McCaffrey on short. He assesses and finds Livermore, who's happy to fall back. Kelly switching it to the other wing. A big fly from the back, nearly claimed, just out of Hill's reach. Phillip Island edge it forward. Blake traps it, gets it away, and didn't hit it to good effect, which precipitated a stoppage. Strong composure by the Seagulls defence. Nearly 6 minutes through this opening quarter. The throw in, just outside the Bulldogs' goal. Livermore flicking it away, only as far as Eli Richards, who has a shot across the face. Still no score registered as of yet. And Lewis Hill in defence. Gives it plenty up the wing. Back with the fly. Egan did enough to affect the dropped mark. Scanlon comes in from the side and a free kick for the Seagulls. No one inside the Seagulls forward 50 for the moment. Might need to be soon. McCaffrey wraps around the hand pass for Oxley, who probably spent it before he earned it, but he was rewarded with the free kick anyway. Has a lead from Rob through the middle. Doesn't take it. It'll be McCaffrey's free kick, in fact. Just beyond left half back, Brent McCaffrey. Sharing it out wide. They all crash the pack, and it still remained alive for everyone to have a crack at. Dylan Wilson entering the frame to take the mark. And now they'll switch. Kelly. A stray kick, putting his teammate under the pump. He had to maintain his composure, and he did. And with length, he kicks out to the wing and finds his target. Rob and Brewer. Butler. Short ship. Bulldogs intervene. Wright has it under his control. Snaps indiscriminately. Lenders takes the mark. Has numbers through the middle, one of which is Adam Oxley. He had to track back and still does, providing the chase is Kane Gillard, who was the hero last week, and he gets to him. Oxley left it open. Kane Gillard still tracking it down, and now he has it. No numbers ahead of the footy. And Kelly sweeping it up. Livermore. McCaffer calling for it on the outer side. You can see how it hangs up in the air with the wind. And McCaffer with plenty of protection and teammates nearby. He does the sensible thing. Chips short to Galea. And he is able to identify Egan. Short prod. Dropped mark by Rob. Helping themselves this time is Adams. And McCaffer, maybe with a bit of luck, it fell directly into his lap. Calls for not 15. Centre wing. 8.5 minutes through this first quarter. Wright takes off, brought down as he released the kick, and he finds Stewie Scanlon. And he'll have a shot from about 35 out. Wrong side for a right footer, but plenty of talent surrounding his name. One of the league's leading goal kickers is Stuart Scanlon. 61 goals in 18 games, averaging over 3. Averages over 2 a game for his career, and right now in the grand final, he hits on the scoreboard first. And the Seagulls with the early lead. Back in the middle, McKenna. Pedersen took it out of the ruck himself. Swept onto the right, up to half forward. Ball still there to be won. Eventually it is by the Bulldogs, who work in tandem. What a clean pickup. And entering the scene is every Seagull defender. Proctor out to the wing. Adams takes it within his clutches, but he wasn't paid the mark. We'll have another ball up. So Stuart Scanlon with the opening goal. The 2022 grand final for Tooradin. They lead it 6-0. 10 minutes through this first quarter. No real clearance made. Strong tackle. Another ball up. Just forward of centre for Phillip Island. Pedersen again. Scrambles one up to half forward. Galea able to get back, and everywhere he looked, there was a Bulldog in his path. They've been given the free kick. Plenty of calls being made. The deepest target is Jesse Patullo. He heads in that direction, gives him some space to move and attack it with pace. It's still deep in the defensive line for the Seagulls, and they argue over the footy to no avail, and another ball up on its way. Directly in front of Phillip Island's goal, and they register their first score for the day. It's a behind. One straight to one behind. Oxley with fans behind him jeering. Up to the wing now. Butler dropped the mark. Danger was enough to affect it. They'll wrestle over it. Brewer also in the mix. A ball up on the logo. 60 out from the Bulldogs' goal. Butler in the ruck this time. Paddles it down. Oxley in the frame. High up and under. And again, supported by Livermore. Proctor making claims which weren't supported by the umpire. Livermore head first. Given the free kick. Reward for effort. And now he's told to play on. He had to be precise. It was broken up by Blake. And over the boundary line he goes. 13 minutes through this opening quarter. The Seagulls 1 straight 6. And we'll have to do that throw again. Stuart Scanlon with the opening goal of the grand final. James Trezise has not been as conspicuous as he is in some scenarios. Livermore let it pass him. Lenders, Livermore again, propping up for another possession. Suarez had the best position, and swiping it away in defence was Matt Jackson. Jackson and Suarez, some back chatter. Suarez, of course, didn't play last week. Back in the side, need a prominent forward. And he can provide plenty of colourful attacks. Oxley on the non-customary left foot out to the wings. Here is Suarez. Had Trezise riding shotgun. Instead took it over to Livermore. Returned over the kick. And on the rebound, Patullo. Oxley camped underneath, but it's broken up. Phillip Island advancing. It's a long hoist from 50 that might have the journey. And does. The Bulldogs with their first lead of the day. 14 and a half minutes in. And Tooradin have been under siege for the last couple of minutes, and that was bound to happen. Back in the middle, Pedersen with a large run up to the footy. Oxley punches it the other way. Trezise slung around in the tackle. Managed to escape with a hand pass. Peaver right, juggling it once, twice, and he's got it. And he believes in himself to have the distance. Plenty of football pedigree from this man, Peaver Wright. He's played in the VFL before. He's found himself a home at Tooradin Dalmore. And from 50 metres out, it's swaying to the left. Trezise will watch on. And it's out in the full. Before the season started, Lockie Gillespie was asked, who would it be if it's not Tooradin Dalmore? And he said Phillip Island. They've been consistently good for such a long time. And funnily enough, they're playing against each other to take away the prize up the wing. Front position with Lenders or his opponent well, but eventually it's taken away by Max Blake. And then he was run down. Oxley, McCaffer. Rakes it in. Short, dainty kick for Trezise. On the far side, he'll load up. Haul it to half forward. Suarez went relatively early. Still alive in a dangerous situation for Phillip Island. Livermore out the back hatch. And Butler with room, with time, with space. Misses it all. In fact, he's kicked it behind and scores are now level. "17 minutes through this opening quarter. 1-1 apiece. From full back. Investigating through the middle and an illegal infringement against Butler. Cam Pedersen taking the ruck duties today. Obviously versatile with his forward prowess. He's been kept goalless quite a few times in the last few weeks, which is unusual if you looked at his stats earlier on in the year. And he prods one short for Marcus Wright. Tamata is nearby, but Wright takes it upon himself with no real target in mind. Insurance out the back for the Seagulls, but it's a scrubby old kick. Jones shows it once and then he's stripped of it by McCaffer and he lets him know after. McCaffer offering instructions, advising his teammates to form down the wing. Suarez found a little channel to lead into, and Tamata nudges him after he takes the mark. Adams. McCaffer calling for it, but he was probably about 5 metres away. Further up the wing, Pedersen with authority. Takes the mark. Phillip Island can get some dash off half back. Settling play down at the moment. Some system, at least for a moment, to their play, but it's stolen away. Wright chains up the handballs. Trezise takes a moment to observe the field ahead of him. Hill first to it, but there's an opponent trailing behind. He's so agile, though. He gets past one. Indiscriminate kick up to the 50. Hand pass is threaded through and then brought down in the tackle. And the Seagulls, and it all goes to waste, but it's still camped on the 50. The Bulldogs applying monumental pressure. We'll have another ball up. Still 7 apiece, nearly into time on in this first quarter. Pedersen and Butler. Butler out-duelled Pedersen, overrunning the footy. Kane Gillard, who was the hero last week. And the mark is eventually taken in the 50 for the Seagulls. That's Blake Brewer. Has travelled all around Australia. Blake Brewer played in the NEFL in the Northern Territory League. Brings VFL quality to the side. And it's on display right there. The Seagulls are back in front. Well, it was said before, reward for effort. And Tooradin Dalmore's pressure was stepped up a notch in that last little sequence. And now it's Phillip Island's turn to respond. Vernon gets it forward. And Wilson at centre half back. To the wing he goes. Brewer. On the scoreboard just then with a lovely set shot. Plenty of height in the kick. Enabled everyone to shift down below, and Pedersen had the final say. "21 minutes through the opening quarter. The West Gippsland Grand Final. Right. Watched it elude him. Parlberg swept it up. McCaffer delivered up to half forward. Bowled everyone. Tamata in defence with a spiralling ball. And coming up to the footy, Patullo to no avail, taking the mark. Kelly acquires it. McCaffer. And on standby, Galea to the wing, faking one way, Adams. The makeshift kick, it doesn't travel far, and Phillip Island chop it off. With speed, he's away, Vernon. Nearly run down by McCaffer. Called to play on was Kelly, or Wilson rather. Oxley from a standing start. Pumps it down the wing. Griffin. A lot of pressure associated with this footy at the moment. And it's Phillip Island down the other way. Strong mark. Lenders calls for it at centre half back, but he's happy to activate Livermore through the middle, but it's taken away by Phillip Island. Helping himself in the thrust of his O'Brien. Here he is again on the left. Whips it to centre half forward. Numbers at ground level are with the Seagulls. Oxley prevents them from advancing any further. Parlberg tracking back all the way back. Tackle eventually laid by Jones, and Brewer takes the mark. Short option in Adams. Play slows down for a moment. It's been fast-paced footy for most of it. Wright with strength and body use. And now length on the kick to full forward. Suarez nearly from the side. It's still alive for Rob. Can't get boot to ball, but a free kick has been paid. And Tooradin Dalmore should have a third here. And it's Stephen Robb from directly in front. Shouldn't miss this, and he doesn't. The Seagulls punish again in their forward 50, and they have the largest lead of the game, 3-1-19 to 1-1-7, deep into time on in this opening quarter of the grand final. The Seagulls with a 12-point lead, 24.5 minutes in this opening quarter. Pedersen and McKenna. McKenna hit in the head. Ferocious footy by Billy Taylor, but McKenna still finds a way to get the footy. Oxley playing the wrong sport. Out to the wing, Trezise. Able to shark it. Has McCaffer. He'll unselfishly played across for Proctor. McCaffer screaming for it. Here it is. He's ready to load up again. Tries one on the man who's pressuring him. He tucks it into the pocket. Suarez! Well, it was perfect by Brent McCaffer, who's coming off for a well-deserved spell. Took his time, eventually found Julian Suarez. From 30 outs, looking to join his teammates on the board. Comes up skinny. And that margin now at 13. Mark Griffin from fullback, wearing the highest jersey number today, 65. For Tooradin Dalmore, it's Parlberg with 55. That's a beautiful kick out to the wing. Down an unguarded man, Billy Taylor now has the footy. Short, delicate kick inside. Eli Richards provided the lead, but the siren sounds a shorter quarter and the opening quarter of the grand final. Tooradin Dalmore started off with one against their name through Stuart Scanlon. Phillip Island were able to hit back, but then pressure and pressure from every angle allowed Brewer and Robb to hit the scoreboard. And after one, it's Tooradin Dalmore 3-2-20. Phillip Island a 1-1-7, 3 quarters to play in season 2022. 1 quarter down in the West Gippsland Grand Final. Tooradin Dalmore 3-2-20. Phillip Island a 1-1-7. And Tooradin Dalmore have kicked the last 2 goals. Brewer and Robb, all of their goals emanating from set shots. And Cameron Brown on the board for Phillip Island. Nearly set and ready to go for this second quarter. 3 centre breaks for Tooradin Dalmore and 2 for Phillip Island. And that's been part of where the game has been led so far, but the pressure inside 50 for either side in their moments was suffocating, especially for Tooradin Dalmore in the final 10 minutes. Prevented Phillip Island from even entering their inside 50. In the last couple of seasons of 2018, 2019, Tooradin Dalmore finished third in each year. They finished first this year. And they're destined to win this season for the first time in a quarter of a century. Bodies crash and slam. McCaffer couldn't get clear for the hand pass, and now he does. Fortuitously into his hands. On the left, up to centre half forward. A big tumble down by Egan. Phillip Island carried away to the wing. Running onto it, it's Hill and Patullo of the Geordie variety who keeps it alive and gets the free kick as well. So now he's ready to duck back in, up to half forward. Through plenty of fingertips and hands. Oxley, Phillip Island take it away. An open man up forward. Harry O'Brien committed to it, but McCaffer with even stronger commitment. And the coaches watch on and applaud. And in full back, showing a clean pair of heels, Livermore to halfback. Just perusing the field ahead of him. Trezise skipped past him. We'll have another boundary throw in. Centre wing, over a minute into this second quarter. We hope you enjoy this grand final and our company. We certainly enjoy yours. Right. Ball pitched on its end and fooled him. Patullo, the ball carrier to vacant space. No real target in mind. Jack Taylor was probably the closest. Another boundary throw in. Suarez having a spell on the bench. Adams, 2 for Tooradin Dalmore. Pedersen. Ball in dispute. Would have been plenty of chatter at quarter time for Phillip Island. Had hit-outs to advantage and clearances. Unable to break free is Kimber. And another ball up. So a little stagnant at the moment. Pedersen attempting to create something. His opponent did out of the ruck. And they win the clearance. Scanlon, right. Over the line again. As we mentioned, Tooradin Dalmore in the reserves were able to win before this game. And in the thirds, it was Inverloch who were victorious. And in the fourths, Phillip Island. So Phillip Island and Tooradin Dalmore also fighting to take out the most wins for today. Another ball up. Plenty of stoppages in this quarter. It's been a stalemate early on. Proctor, Patullo, just slapping it forward. Won't budge. It goes out of bounds again. So contrary to the first quarter, slow-paced footy. Movement in the ruck. Pedersen with a big piece of it. Brown, who's on the scoreboard today for Phillip Island, right with a launch up forward and out of bounds on the full. In the back pocket, Phillip Island. They'll endeavour to go end-to-end, cut this margin, goal by goal. At the moment, it's at left half back. Loitering but not taking the footy, McCaffer. Scanlon from the side. Brewer hits the deck hard. Somehow plucked it out of midair. Courageous act, putting his body on the line when it matters most in the grand final. It's been 25 years, a long time coming for Tooradin. And their lead would have been extended to 19 had he have kicked it. Griffin. With numerous networks to select from. Oxley followed the path of the footy. Proctor involved. Hand pass to Patullo. A free kick for the Bulldogs. He plays on, does Patullo. Doesn't get great purchase on the kick. It falls short. Parlberg takes the hand pass. Free kick the way of Tooradin Dalmore. Ship. McCaffer. Oh, big fly. Trezise. Grewer. Trezise again. They'll communicate at ground level. Galea. Equal numbers around the footy. Trezise went barreling through. And another free kick, this time in the way of the Bulldogs. At half back. To the wing. Joining the throng, Hill. Taking away the footy, Grewer in full stride. Gets it long. Shallow entry and it's cut off. Steering it across the back line, Mackenzie. And that's a perilous kick. Parlberg just got to it first. Matthew Jones wasn't really prepared for it. And Parlberg inventing for right over his head. Mackenzie is still at a close proximity to the footy and taken high. Here's Blake Grewer again. He has been lively and productive today. One goal on the board for Blake Grewer. Just missed the previous set shot from a similar angle. He does the exact same this time. Margin at 15. Nearly 7 minutes in. Griffin. Massages one to Jackson. Suarez stands tall on the mark. Floats one in the air. Patullo. McKenna. Permission to enter and take it away. McCaffer's out the back door and he staves off the effort of Kane Gillard into the 50. Suarez. And a free kick has been pinned out for Griffin.
Keep going, Kev. Keep going, mate. Good, Macca.
It's a grey cloud looking extremely ominous above us. Conditions have held up since the reserves game. Centre half back, Levi Robinson. Smothered. The hands of Adams. Able to intervene. Here is Adams. Brilliant individual effort. Still managed to eject the hand pass out. Kimber diving on top. Taken high by Trezise. In fact, it was Trezise who was taken high and Grewer misses again. Third behind in a row for Blake Grewer. And Mark Griffin amassing possession after possession. He's already had 5 from kick-ins alone. Undisturbed. Hovering through the air. Awkward ball. Wobbles into the centre. Wrapped up in the tackle, the Ship. Pedersen out of the ruck. Raised the arms. Got rid of the hand pass. Vernon. Taken without the footy. And now they'll activate some runners through the middle. One of which is Robinson, who gets away. In pursuit. His bounce. Luckily he made amends. Patullo with a long bomb into the 50. Fading left. McCaffer stalking it. Ship as well. And a ball in 25 metres out from Phillip Island's goal. Need one against the flow here. It's been all Tooradin for the best part of 8 or 9 minutes, including the first quarter. Adams. Wrestling it out of the ruck again. Taylor. Another ball up. Operations put to a halt for a moment. And for a fraction of a second they had a chance, but They gave away a free kick, did Phillip Island. Oxley. Receives it via the 1-2 from Galea. Out to the wing. Wright illegally used his body. Phillip Island advancing. Not deep into attack. Up to half forward. Taking the mark. Max Blake. And whether he's too far out to score or not, we'll shortly find out. He has the footy in his clutches at the moment. Seems eager to collaborate with the teammate, and now he settles. Just one goal kicked for Phillip Island on the day so far. He's kicked 20 goals in his last 9 games, has Max Blake. His second year with Phillip Island. He's played in the VAFA before. And from 50 out, it hangs up in the air. It'll drop short. Mark nearly taken. Into the contest goes Brown, who's been their source of goals early on. It's flushed out of defence by Lenders. Out to the wing. Vernon in a tussle with his opponent. Had support in numbers and will have a boundary throw in. Pedersen paddles it down behind him to the advantage of Redmond, who slipped to ground and then braced for contact. Rob taken high. As Oxley, if he needs him, instead he gives it off to Lenders. On the left. To half forward, Brewer in a one-on-one with Wright. He stretches away, taps it to himself. Now Wright brings him down in the tackle and he's called holding the ball. Crowd a little infuriated. Harry O'Brien in the back pocket. Has to be diligent by foot here, and he was, although unable to oblige. Kane Gillard taken away. Livermore thwarts it inside. Broken up in the air. McKenzie couldn't take the mark, and now it's Scanlon. Sleight of hand. Trezise over the top. Suarez into the open goal. And Tooradin with their 4th of the day. Back in the side today is Julian Suarez. And isn't his imprint being felt? All around the ground, he's been productive. And on the end of a handball chain that ended up in a major in Tooradin's margin. Tooradin's lead, the strongest it has been today. 22 points. Flying up is Butler. Locked away, another ball up to follow. Pedersen, the back tap. McKenzie, Vernon, all involved and emerging are the Seagulls. A one-on-one deep. It's Suarez again, and he will be given the free kick. Julian Suarez to make it 2 against his name. And he's done plenty more than that today as well. But on the scoreboard where it matters most, he's kicked 2. Nearly reminiscent of the first time these sides played each other in the year. where Tooradin was 74-point victors. McCaffer has his say. Jones in open space. Trezise bumps him off it. And just taken high. They'll advance. Griffin, unfamiliar territory for him, as a lead up forward. Swiped away, and now overwhelmed by plenty of Seagulls who are flocking towards him to the outer side. Harry O'Brien gets past one. Tees it up. Needs a mark. Couldn't get it, but they're still eager to fight for the footy. And a free kick in the way of the Bulldogs. Orlando Kane Gillard. He'll never shy away from the big moment. We learnt it last week when he kicked the goal after the siren in extra time to send them into this grand final. And right now, when his side needs it, he's able to deliver. Always reliable. Five to 2-1 on your Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. McCaffer tracking it down. And as soon as he did, he was handcuffed by Orlando Kane Gillard. Open run for Pedersen in the ruck. Adams. McCaffer muffles one up to centre half forward. Proctor given the free kick, and taking it away is Egan. Unfortunately for him, he'll have to come back. Andrew Proctor taking his time to determine where he'll exactly position the kick. He does in the pockets, and once, twice, nearly. Suarez! He's the man today. 3 in a row for Julian Suarez. Where's he been? Three goals this quarter for Tooradin. 3 goals for Julian Suarez this quarter for Tooradin. It's been his quarter. And they can be the exponent of another goal. At least he can, if they can head that way, which they will be in a moment. Parlberg pushed in the back. And on the overlap, he's got a runner. Lines up on the left. Here is Suarez in the vicinity. Spills for Proctor. And he's taken down in the tackle. Might have taken a knee to the head as well. Over 18 and a half minutes in. Tooradin with a 28-point lead. McKenna. Another ball up. Peaver right. After having a spell, is back on. Means they'll unleash the dual threat if he does head up forward of Wright and Suarez. McKenna, Pedersen with a fresh airy. And the umpire does blow his whistle for another ball up. Scanlon lurking. McKenna threading it through. It's dangerous times for the Bulldogs. Caged in. Eli Richards. 25 out from the Seagulls' goal. McKenna down for Trezise. Lost his footing. McCaffer tosses it up. Swinging too far away from goal. Luckily on the last line of defence, McKenzie rinses it away to the wing. Hill has it. Fakes one way, kicks the other. Livermore. Analysing ahead. And now they'll load up. Grew as the main target, but Pedersen had plenty of room to launch. It was a kick to a 2-on-1. And he directs it to Kimber. Pedersen. 40 metres up the wing for Tamata. He's driven into the turf. Brown. Kane Gillard. The two goal kickers working together. And Parberg saving it. Grew up with a looping kick into the 50. Suarez bashed away by defence. Tamata ran back into the contact and he was taken high. Need to settle at the moment. 45 seconds into time on in this second quarter. Tooradin dominating at the moment. Taylor at the back. Brown. Galea. Legs tangled by Jones. Taken away again by Taylor. Jack Taylor, that is. And from a standing start, Rob to half forward. Trezise out of his grasp, but a free kick given for Proctor. Has Brewer on short. Suarez saying, kick it my way. And he does. And it was the direction of the goals too. Suarez hoping to see it through. Griffin didn't rush it. Elected to find McKenzie on the outer side. And now one-on-one, a foot race to the ball. Brutally taken off it by the bump. It's Batulo. And he's been given the free kick. Nearly 22 minutes in. 6-5 plays 2-1 on a totally workwear Pakenham scoreboard. McKenzie, rather McCaffer. And a bus stop underneath, able to take the mark. Suarez is still the deepest target and he's unmanned at the moment. Tamata and in the frame, Kimber. Right. O'Brien to repel. To the wing, Galea. Motoring onto it, takes it in his clutches and escorts it out of bounds. Three goals to 1 this quarter in favour of Julian Suarez and Tooradin. McKenna climbed the step ladder. Oxley wound up. It might just work. Right with strength. And on the left, they shuffle it forward. It'll have to oblige for Scanlon, who's in a one-on-one situation with McKenzie. He plays in front of him, taps it on, and Tamata puts it out over the line. Well played by Kai McKenzie. Had the dangerous Stuart Scanlon all over him. Right. Egan! Misses. 23.5 minutes in this second quarter. 12 scoring shots to 3. Phillip Island beleaguered at the moment. Out to the wing. Taylor flying through. Another ball up. Kimber around this pack. Hovering through the air, down to the wing. And latching on illegally. It was the back of Eli Richards which was pounced on. He's been given the free kick. Need to hit the scoreboard to Phillip Island, but they have the outnumber do Tooradin and Dalmore on this occasion. Pedersen watched on. Kimber made his way up the field. Into the 50 for Phillip Island. It's still alive and a kick in danger. And Dylan Wilson, the man to take the free kick. And is it 50 as well? No. He crafts something at the wing. Right. Didn't even need to jump. Instead, he gave some assistance to Butler. who was brought down. Griffin. Matthew Jones. Kimber. Lofts the kick high and wide. Still might work. Oxley with advanced tech of the spoil at the back. 25.5 minutes into this second quarter. Tooradin Dalmore 6-6-42. Phillip Island 2-1-13. Extraordinarily large crowd come to see this today. Siren blows after a bit of a falcon off the head of Galea. And it's dominance written all over Julian Suarez's name. He kicked 3 goals alone in that second quarter. They were Tooradin Dalmore's only 3 goals, but he's done much more than that. Phillip Island with the 1 goal against their name in that quarter, courtesy of Orlando Kane Gillard. But they currently find themselves in a 29-point hole. 5 goals needed in the second half. We're halfway through to find out if Tooradin Dalmore can break their streak and their drought of 25 years, or will Phillip Island go back-to-back? They've still got a lot of work to do, but they'll regather and pick themselves back up off the ground. Stay with us. Nearly time for the penultimate quarter of season 2022 between Tooradin Dalmore and Phillip Island. It's the Seagulls with a 29-point lead, and Julian Suarez will be remembered for his second quarter. If Tooradin Dalmore are to break the drought, he kicked 3 goals, and Tooradin Dalmore themselves kicked 3 goals in that quarter. Just the one to Phillip Island. It was Orlando Kane Gillard. 3 goals to 1 in that quarter, which opened up a 29-point lead. Just waiting for some spectators to remove themselves from the field, and then we will be underway. Cam Pedersen to start in the ruck against Peter Wright. Julian Suarez, undoubtedly the best on ground so far. James Trezise has always been handy and has been today up forward. Brent McCaffer with plenty of clearances. Blake Greer had a little sequence where he kicked 1 goal and then 3 behinds, but at the moment he has a chance. Gained access for a moment. McCaffer almost took it off. Grew up. McCaffer again. They watch as it's dislodged from the pack. Hill scrubs one forward to the wing. Tackle laid. Kick released. Parlberg first to it. And he ducked underneath and he was taken high. Options of plenty in the forward half. Scanlon somehow reeled it in. He's about 50 out from goal. He also with 1 goal today. Got to be careful to not reverse the free kick. Andrew Proctor also. Here is Brad Butler. Hooking it far from goal. Pedersen couldn't arrive. And the mark taken by the Seagulls. Blake Greer, who we just mentioned. He's appeared everywhere in the first half and in the second half. He has too early on. He misses to the right. And that's his 4th behind of the day. So he has the yips at the moment. Does Blake Greer. Played for Redland and Brisbane in the NEFL before transferring over to Richmond in the VFL. And in the Northern Territory Footy League, Galea from the side. Wilson had to be careful. Oxley was aware of the danger. A 2-on-1 in favour of the Seagulls. Parlberg with the shepherd, but Livermore left the ball behind. And a ball up on the wing. Phillip Island have to strike first. Pedersen, free kick the way of Tooradin Dalmore. McCaffer picking up where he left off. McKenna. Right from the side. Eyes venture forward as a short lead by Scanlon, who let the bounce sit. He's brought down in the tackle, but it's still up to the goal square. And Hill climbed up multiple defenders. Individual brilliance. And Lewis Hill, top of the goal square. Can begin what they did in the first half. In the second half, Tooradin Dalmore with a 36-point lead. Have to stem the flow, do the Bulldogs. It's getting away from them now.
Let's go, Bugsy! Go, Blakey!
2 in a row since Kane Gillard's set shot for Phillip Island. Suarez and Lewis Hill. Pedersen with a major thump. Galea up to the wing. Trezise eluded him. And now he does elude all comers. Hill strangled his opponent, who's been given the free kick. Dodgy old kick, and also taken high was Vernon. Into the 50 now, the Bulldogs. Mark. Taylor played his opponent off the ball. And in turn, his teammate took the mark. Must kick this. 36 points down early on in the third quarter. Directly in front. Great purchase, great contact, great results. Goal for goal early on in the third. Jesse Petullo with his first of the day. Only single goal kickers for Phillip Island. Cameron Brown, Orlando Kane Gillard, and now Petullo. Cancelling out Hill's goal. Petullo with his first of the day. Back in the middle. And now to half forward. 1-on-1. Scanlon keeping his feet. Tapping it on. McKenzie wasn't too phased. (7-7) to 3-1 on your Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. Of course, brought to you by Fused by King G. King G Trade Comfort Max. Trezise burrowing through. Didn't amount to anything. We'll have a ball up, 55 metres out from goal. Right, McCaffer. Rob overran the footy. McCaffer couldn't quite get a handle on it. Another ball up. Big fly from Butler. But it's Vernon for the Bulldogs. Looking to make it 2 in a row. Petullo just kicked their most recent goal. Jones high up and under. Wilson. Petullo had the first touch. Adams looking to wrestle and wriggle free. Petullo again to full forward. The Seagulls have reinforcements. Galea. McCaffer. Not feeling too adventurous this time. He'll wave on his men. To the wing. Down the line he heads. Right. Somehow clunked it. Even though Griffin and Wright, Marcus Wright that is, were on his back. Peever sends it up the wing. Spoiled from behind. Egan, Trezise. Sprawled out on the turf. We'll have a ball up. Still a 30-point lead. Pedersen smothered partially. Now hoiking it up to the wing. Further up the wing at least. Petullo now. O'Brien helps himself. Into the leading lanes, but it's a one-on-one, and if it has the legs, it could be another. Wilson rushes it through. (7-7) plays 3-2. 8 minutes in on your Totally Workwear Gippsland scoreboard. Of course, the new store recently opened in Pakenham. Suarez with the defensive role. Max Blake at the front. He'll watch it out. As will Damien Holmes. Just in front of us, broadcast side. Front of the pavilion here at Garfield Recreation Reserve. Tooradin Dalmore by 29 in the grand final. Hill looked to sizzle one to Trezise. McCaffer offloads it to Trezise, who ran over the footy. Suarez in tandem with Brewer, whose kick was smothered, but with luck, fell to his teammates. Adams into the 50 now. Numbers out the back with Phillip on. McKenzie brought down to ground. Has to maintain some level of discipline. He did. Jones. Over the line she goes. Pedersen and McKenna put their hand up for the ruck again. Peever Wright is trailing behind. McKenna, his teammate, looked to pierce his way through, and in defence, the Bulldogs now to the wing. They venture. Flies from every angle. Max Blake had 3 goes at it. Brewer from the side. And holding the ball is called. Phillip Island will win the free kick. He loads up, delivers beautifully to Jack Taylor. He's made his way up the field, and he'll look central. Laterally across for Vernon, who has room to manoeuvre. On the outer side, probably too much height in the end. Big set of knuckles comes from Egan. Tamata, looping hand pass, and now swinging around Petullo. And he sensibly dishes it off into the path of Kane Gillard, who can line up for his seconds. Before today, he had 15 goals in 12 senior games. This is similar to where he inscribed his name into history last week with a goal after the siren to win it for them. He fans this one to the left, and Phillip Island have their 3rd minor score of the day. Oxley has the tendency to do this. Just put it up to a pack with a hopeful kick. Have a ball up on the logo. 28 points the lead in the grand final for Tooradin Dalmore. McKenna. Pedersen used all of his strength. Went the wrong way. And it wasn't exactly made easy for Phillip Island, and Trezise put the tackle on Vernon. Pedersen again. Punches it forward. Parlberg took it under his control. Another ball up. .50 out from the Bulldogs' goal. Pedersen made sure to have a long run up. His tap wasn't the greatest for his teammates. Livermore watched on. Plenty of longitude experienced in the tackle for the Bulldog. Half forward. Right on the arc of 50. McKenna, Vernon, Tamata, all involved. Brown. Probably experiencing a little bit of whiplash, but he wasn't paid the free kick. Pedersen again, this time into open space for Cameron Brown. Relative safety, Oxley and Suarez. Trezise absorbed every bit of pressure. Still able to mark, has Parlberg on short. He won't take him. Down to the wing, a big band of players and right. Just disallows everyone from having a bite at the footy because he knows it's all his. Just centre half forward, Suarez.
Come on, Jules, kick this.
We've said his name quite frequently today. Three goals alone in the second quarter for Julian Suarez. Everyone watches on. It's been a magnificent effort thus far, and he's hoping to wheel his side over the line, and it curls through for his fourth. It's the premiership quarter, but it seems like every quarter is for Julian Suarez. That's his fourth for the day. Eight-7 plays 3-3 on Mutual Turf at Garfield in the grand final. Parlberg loiters. Vernon, umpire nearly called the whistle. Eli Richards snaps it up, and just as he did, he was interfered with. We'll have another crack at it. His teammate's kick smothered slightly. McCaffer depositing it over. Another argument over the footy and another ball up to ensue. Just forward of centre. Butler putting his body on the line in the ruck contest. Proctor, McCaffer hurls it up to the wing. Egan swept it up cleanly. Trezise was in a whirlwind for a moment. Throw in at centre wing. The Seagulls just hoping to consolidate their 34-point lead into the third quarter. 16 minutes we are. They'll have another attack here. Scanlon decided to go to Suarez again. Somehow avoided collision. There were plenty of options, open men everywhere, and Julian Suarez to line up for his fifth of the day. Back in the side today. He's kicked 29 goals before today in 17 games. And right now, he is a force to be reckoned with. You can't touch Julian Suarez at the moment. If you're a defender, you can only watch on and pray that he's inaccurate. But right now, he is the opposite. The Seagulls lead this by 40 points. A game high, 9-7 to 3-3. And Julian Suarez with 5 of Tooradin's last 6 goals. We resume hostilities in the middle. The Seagulls a quarter and a little bit away from breaking their drought. McCaffer to the wing. Both losing their footing. Hill, who took a wonderful mark before, didn't quite push it out of bounds, which allowed the Bulldogs to pounce on the footy. Here is an opportunity revealing for them. Vernon over his head. Lenders played it well. And they're excelling in every facet at the moment, are the Seagulls. Flawless performance. Only one loss on the year, which was to Phillip Island. Handballs are chained up. Wilson got the kick away in the nick of time. Jones in a twist. A collective hush for the moments, apart from the Tooradin bench, around Garfield Recreation Reserve. High throw in, Pedersen down to ground, free kick. He's given it away. Hasn't been his day at the office. Cam Pedersen. Livermore at centre half back. Instead, Butler took it to the wing. Inviting hand pass comes from Egan. McCaffer unleashes it out to the wing, but Wright couldn't get there. The Bulldogs have it. Oxley in the contest. Not a very defining kick again for the Bulldogs. Lenders ducking and weaving through traffic. On its way back, called to play on Matthew Jones. And he was hampered. We'll have a ball up. Forward of centre for the Bulldogs. Desperately need to hit the scoreboard. Pedersen down. And now out. Billy Taylor. Attacked it with pace and he's been held without the footy. Deepest target, Zach Vernon. I've got a couple to choose. Pedersen, probably within range. And he will take it. AFL experience for Cameron Pedersen. Majority of his career with North Melbourne. Played for Melbourne as well at the back end of his career. And that's exactly what they need. He knew he had it in him. And the margin still in reach for the Bulldogs. It's a 34-point game. Sometimes the domino effect comes into play, where if you kick one, it could result in another, and who knows from there. 6 goals is what the Bulldogs need, and Pedersen doing everything he can. McKenna can't break the shackles attached to him. Plenty of urgency needed for Phillip Island. 21 and a half minutes through this third quarter. The premiership quarter, which has been won by Tooradin Dalmore. Livermore gliding forward. Suarez will lope after it. He has Adams' support. He's being corralled at the moment, but he settles. And has a sideways kick for Livermore, who's relocated, and now he's off on his own journey into the 50. Trezise the target. Trezise the mark.
Come on, Jimmy. It's about kick it from there.
At the point of contact, he'll be beyond the 50. But he's been a talent this year, has James Trezise. Uncharacteristic of him to not have a goal against his name. He recommitted this year. He's been at Tooradin for 4 years. And he's unleashed bombs like that. And he deserves the flex. Tooradin Dalmore's lead back up to 40. Four goals to 2 this quarter. And we were waiting for it. James Trezise on the scoreboard for the first time today. Back to 40 points. 23 minutes through this third quarter. Out of the middle. Scrub and kick forward through the agency of Eli Richards. Kimber. And into the 50, Harry O'Brien waited for it to sit. And he centres it. Oxley dropped the mark, which probably should have been claimed. Eli Richards has made his way up the field. McCaffer slipped down to ground. Patullo tosses one up. And we wait for the verdict. It's a goal. Geordie Patullo that time. Goal for goal at Garfield. $34 points, again the margin. Pedersen out of the ruck himself. McKenna. Out of his grasp was his opponents and into the 50. Brown being worn like a glove. Galea. .24.5 minutes in. Jack Taylor in the ruck for Phillip Island this time. Need one before three-quarter time as it jigs out of bounds. The back tap. Now the numbers open up. From a standing start, it's Eli Richards. This is to the left. Under a bit of duress in the last few minutes, Tooradin and Dalmore, but James Trezise did steady the ship. He'll be around this footy as well. Oxley with an appetite for it. Suarez, take your pick. Suarez or Proctor. In the end, it's Proctor. Who's in two minds here. Takes Suarez. Just waiting for all his numbers to flow forward, which they do. McKenna, the priority here. In fact, it was Brewer. Substantial sized marks today. It's a free kick coming back against Trezise. Well, Blake Brewer's mark, unfortunately, won't stand. And Jack Taylor still waiting for the ball. 26 minutes through. We've had short quarters today. They'll advance across the wing. Into the 50. From the side, Patullo. Oxley slammed into the turf. Taylor tried to subdue Egan. Brewer. Livermore. Brewer. Holds it for a moment. No need to panic for the Seagulls. Brewer wildly inaccurate today, but he's done everything else. And the siren sounds for three-quarter time. The premiership quarter. Tooradin and Dalmore strengthened their lead. And heading into the final quarter of season 2022. It's Tooradin and Dalmore 10-7-67 and Phillip Island 5-4-34. We've seen wild things happen before. What can Phillip Island muster, or can Tooradin break their long-awaited drought of 25 years? We'll find out shortly. One final chapter to be written in year 2022 of the West Gippsland footy competition, football and netball competition, of course. Brought to you by Totally Workwear, Gippsland, the new store in Pakenham. Currently, Tooradin Dalmore with a 33-point lead, and they've been dominating. They had the premiership quarter under their belts, and goals were kicked in quick succession. James Trezise with the most recent for Tooradin. It was 4 goals to 3. They went goal for goal. The only 2 consecutive goals kicked were by Julian Suarez, who has 5 against his name, and he's been untouchable. He's been the difference maker today. The margin of 33. If you cancel him out, it's a 3-point game. But no one able to contain the man. Julian Suarez, Cam Pedersen, he's been patrolled reasonably well, but in the last few minutes of that third quarter, he did have a major impact, and in the ruck, Peter Wright will be the man for Tooradin Dalmore. Nearly all set and underway. The final quarter, 2020-22. Phillip Island were premiers in 2019 when we were able to have grand finals. It's the first for 3 years. And Tooradin Dalmore, well, what a fairy tale win it would be. 25 years in the making. Still waiting for the all clear. Not too sure what's holding up play for the moment. But the question is, can the Bulldogs fight back? There's the siren to begin proceedings of the fourth quarter. Wright and Pedersen. 33 points the margin. Brewer has been hard at it all day. Straight out of the blocks. Brad Butler. He'll receive the free kick for the Seagulls. And he'll branch out to the wing where he has some run. Kimber couldn't quite reach him. Trezise is near Suarez, and it hits the point post. We'll have a boundary throw in. Andrew Proctor having a spell to start. Dylan Parlberg as well for Tooradin Dalmore. In their pocket, Pedersen. Trezise! Suarez nearly again. And it doubles the score. The margin now 34. And Mark Griffin, given ample space to work with at the moment, has to conjure something up here. Sails to centre half back. Wilson. Plays on quickly, looking for a lead. Suarez, the punch from the side comes out of midair. Scanlon. Goals from every angle. Do not blink your eyes, because Tooradin Dalmore are putting on a wonderful display at the moment. Stewie Scanlon with his second for the day. And the margin is now at its highest of 40, which it has been 3 times. .40 lead. Pedersen out of the ruck. And now the forward line need to negotiate with each other, which they do. The tackle comes from Rob. And out to vacant space, a 2-on-2 coming up towards the footy, hunting it down, and front position with the Bulldogs. Boundary throw in. 45 out from the Bulldogs goal. No time to waste. Pedersen had a piece of it, as did Butler off the ground. Richards edges it closer. And there's the response. Hooking back the wrong side for a right footer. But Billy Taylor. Kicks Phillip Island's first of the final quarter. Right, v. Pedersen again. McCaffer. Can't extract it, the umpire will. We'll have a ball up again. Right, stalled and then pounced on it. It's a half forward. Scanlon had scaffolding against him. And he takes it out of bounds. One final quarter. Have to be desperate as ever. Only 4 minutes in to this final quarter of season 2022. Pedersen, Brewer, threading it through. Adams holding the ball. Bulldogs have it at half back. And now they'll zigzag their way up to the wing. By a foot. Strong spoil by Wilson. Outnumber for the Bulldogs. A man over the top can be utilised, but Harry O'Brien puts it to the wing where Adam Oxley had a clear run at it. Out of instinct, he went up towards goal. Past a couple. Withstanding one, getting the kick away for Pedersen. Short little hand pass. Bounced up for Redmond. And across the wing. Pacing forward. Vernon. Back with the fly courageously. Blake. McKenna. And the Soldiers arrive for the Seagulls. And they swing it. Short chip. Over to Galea. He gets the lead he was looking for from Liam Adams. Plenty of shuffling down forward. Julian Suarez still the deepest man. Egan, 3 goals last week. Hasn't had to do that today. Trezise comes up to the footy. Pedersen does too. Wright provides the crumb opportunity for his teammates. And Kai McKenzie takes the mark. Didn't know what pressure was coming. Taylor waited for the bounce. Maybe too long. Harry O'Brien in the thick of it. Brewer swamping through. Kane Gillard miscued the hand pass. Livermore dragged down. Still got away the hand pass. And now manufacturing another attack, Phillip Island. Vernon over the top. Can't take it cleanly. Kane Gillard. Lenders out to the wing. Egan with space. On his own track. Scanlon. And the defensive work by Levi Robinson enough to put it out of bounds. Nearly 7 minutes through this final quarter. Chance from the crowd. Pedersen. Awkward entanglement on the deck, and holding the ball is called. Tooradin Dalmore's ball at the wing. Suarez, he's calling for it. Scanlon is now at full forward. Egan watched it nearly sit into his hands. Trezise's hand pass. A little indiscriminate. And now the peloton down the ground for Phillip Island. Back the other way now. And on the way through, and closed. The Seagull at the wing. Six goals needed for Phillip Island. And Oxley off the runway. Takes a bounce. And now he distributes inside. And Egan, he was restrained. But his skill and class enabled him to take the mark with comfort in the end. Three goals last week. Prominent goal kicker for most of the year for Tooradin Dalmore. And he's missed off to the left. Griffin, 35 points down. Nearly 9 minutes in. From every angle, the crowd giving it to him. He just spirals one out to the wing. Grew up. Hand pass across. Hill. Momentarily stunned. Livermore out of bounds. Nine and a half minutes in. Tooradin are not too far away from busting open the gate that's been locked for 25 years. Right. Compromised. It was a one-on-one. Tamata did just enough. Trezise playing in the ruck against Pedersen. Tamata over to Kimber. He ran into a wall. And that's Wall. Was a Seagull midfielder by the name of Louis Hill, who has Trezise on short. Probably not within range now. Kicks laterally to centre half forward. Numbers shifting and swarming. Trezise calling for it back. But Coopership puts it for Wrights. Pedersen, and Wrights does take the mark. He scaled the pack. And it was sublime. Pever Wright. Such a presence for this Seagull side that can be one step closer. Fear the Seagulls. They won't fear you. A 41-point lead. They're more than double the score of Phillip Island. Not probable for Phillip Island now, but Pedersen looking to rectify the situation after a goal from Tooradin Dalmore. Navigating through a couple of defenders. Cameron Brown kicked the opening goal for Phillip Island in the first quarter. Hasn't really been impactful since. Pedersen again, volleyball style. Smothered by Greer. To the wing, Greer. Collecting it back. Egan from the side. Bashed by Wrights. Menacing tackle coming from Rob. On Kai McKenzie. We'll have another ball up on the logo. Trezise bumped out of it. Greer has the tools to get himself clear and deliver into the forward 50. Scanlon Mark wasn't paid. It's still alive for the Seagulls in the pockets. And a free kick taken high. It's all working out for Tooradin Dalmore. Julian Suarez. 5 today. His name is being chanted around Garfield Recreation Reserve. For good reason. And it really would be his day if he could slot it from this angle. The old-fashioned drop punts. Crowd in his ear. Swinging back. And it's just missed. Well, this field would have erupted had he kicked that. Tooradin 12-10. Phillip on 6-4. Smothered. What are the ramifications? Scanlon back to Egan, centering for Wright. Play on the call, so Brewer steps in from the side and bends it home. It's extraordinary, and cue the celebrations. They know they're just about home. 48 points, the lead. Blake Brewer, one of the best for Tooradin today, back in the middle with a 48-point lead. To the wing. Trezise lays the bump.
Well done, Hilly. Well
O'Brien wore that bump well. Another ball up. "15 minutes through this final quarter. You can just sense the scenes that will occur when the final siren sounds. Tooradin Dalmore, Trezise, bit of an awkward landing. Some candy sold by Richards. Up to half forward. Taylor amongst it. Out the back hatch. And here is Richards from 50. He'll have a crack. And it's across the face. McKenna didn't take the mark. Doesn't matter too much. "48 points the lead. Been reminiscent of 2 weeks ago in the second term, or in the second half. 10 goals to 1. McCaffer. Gives it plenty up to the wing. Bit of a scrum and another ball upcoming. Saturday afternoon, the final Saturday afternoon football game for this year in season 2022. Tooradin Dalmore with one loss against their name all year. They've been the side to look up to. So authoritative. You can see today a wild run at the ruck. Parlberg spins around, flicks it forward. Nice aerial presence by the Bulldogs' defence. McKenzie through the corridor, and it's cut off by Hill. He'll open up the outer side if it can just get there. Egan kicked one before, plays it in front of himself to run onto. His teammate got it, and Egan had to absorb every bit of contact. Now they generate the run off half back. It overflows out to the Bulldogs' midfield line. Vernon twirling around. Taylor with the tackle. McCaffer and the Seagulls to half forward. Right, almost allowed McKenzie to take it away unimpeded. And at the wing they have it. Nearly 18 minutes through this final quarter. Pedersen at the back, creating an opportunity. But they're heavily fortified back there. Lenders in short. McCaffer. Nearly into time on. A couple of minutes away. Brent McCaffer. Down the line. Trezise. Tried to steal it away from his opponent, but paid to the man in front. On the left. Just chiseling one through the middle. It eventually fell to the Bulldogs, who have some leadway out the back. And the outnumber, Harry O'Brien, too far out to score, and he turns it over. It's cleaned up and across the wing. Industrious. Adams has been all day. Into the centre. Scanlon had a plethora of time. And he's taken. Wasn't the kindest of deliveries by his teammates. Phillip Island advance into their 50. Galea. And the mark. Somehow for Phillip Island in the end. Jack Taylor. Had niggling hamstring issues in 2019, did Jack Taylor. 39 goals in his past 19 games, including 8 against Corumburra Beena. It's been that kind of day for them. The margin out 47. 19 and a half minutes through. What a 5-hour period it's been for the Seagulls. The reserves and now the seniors. Right. Continues to grow and kick was smothered and disentangled, taken without it. Geordie Patullo given the free kick. He attacks centre half forward. Bit of an unrealistic attempt by Parlberg, and Matthew Jones won't be allowed to move it on. His teammate will, however. Right to the teeth of goal. Proctor, he's back on. In the pocket, tucked away. And now to the wing. The spoil comes 20 metres forward. Trezise. Trezise is still in there, hard working. Out point to the ground level, right. Short hand pass, Pedersen. Pumps it in! Another big fly. At the moment, they're just looking to see who can have the best mark of the year. Attempt. And Jesse Patullo's kicked one today with a chance for his second. Directly in front. Kicked 2 last week. Did Jesse Patullo 6 different sides across his career. That's to the left side. (13-10) plays 6-6. Nearly 21 and a half minutes through. Oxley. Brewer dropped the mark. It's definitely an anomaly to the rest of his day today. Instinctive hand pass from the Bulldogs up to half forward. Pressure ensues, as does a ball up. Out to the wing. Redmond. Haven't seen too much of him today. Kimber. He's been slightly fruitful, having to duck and weave. Vernon. Back to Kimber. And Jason Tamata. Taken high. Right on the paint of 50 is Jason Tamata. Played on and turned it over. Parlberg In the hole for the Seagulls. To the outer. Oxley. In defence. Happy to move it along slowly. Lenders. 23 minutes through. Can't be too long left. Numbers aggregating to the wing. Butler. Tipped it forward. Hill. McCaffer from the side. All he was focused on was preventing Kane Gillard from staying in play. Phillip Island. Seems like they've spent all their energy last week in extra time. Taxing contest for them. Pedersen wins the hit out. And Patullo hounded in the tackle. Pedersen again. Punches it 20 metres forward. Oxley committed too hard. Good mark by Parlberg. Wright signals for it. Not sure if Parlberg quite sees him. McCaffer. Kicking across goal. Just accumulating the possessions now. Oxley, Suarez points for it. Just wanting to make it through unscathed. You'd think the Seagulls now. Oxley with a high one to the wing. Trezise, he was parked below it. Suarez tapes it to his opponents. Another ball up. With celebrations beginning to outpour on the Seagulls bench. Another ball up, nearly 25 minutes in. A 46-point lead for the Seagulls. Paddle down. Now, strong-looking torpedo. Scanlon. Let it fall away from him. Scraping it together. Jones. And there it is. It's been a quarter of a century. But Tooradin Dalmore feeling pure jubilation. Everyone swarming onto the field. And West Gippsland will be painted red and green and white tonight. They've been the side all year, and they do it one last time. And the wall has been broken. 25 years in the making. (13-10), 88 to 6-6, 42. Julian Suarez. He was the man today for Tooradin. 5 goals. The only 3 of the second quarter for Tooradin. 2 in the third quarter. And an abundance of acts as well in the fourth quarter. The presentation will happen shortly. And we will find out if Julian Suarez will win the best on ground for today. But scenes at Garfield Recreation Reserve. A team that has been taunted and has toiled for many years. Finally accredited for their run this year. 17-1 in the regular season. 2-0 in the finals. Both games against Phillip Island.
It's like he goes behind the car. I'll end up at the bar again. I'll put money.
Our employees, we want to thank you for getting your goals of coming up in the grand final itself. So, can I ask Craig Dillon to come up and meet me? David Murray, Golden Park. Clark, Golden Park. Boundary umpires, Harry Taylor Smith. Will Campbell. Casey Wilson. John McNeil. Field umpires, Mitch Vanderland. Tom Tipperall. Paul Carter. I can ask Regional Manager Cameron McLean to come up, please. Our best player award, the AFL Victoria Country Medal, has been decided by our umpires, and the winner is number 7, Peter Wright. Now ask Alex Scott, Paul Dunlop to come up and present the medals for all our various players. And thank you to everyone and Alex Scott for the sponsorship throughout the year. Number 4, Nick McKenna. Seven Meyer. Number 7 again, he's arrived. Number 8, Brad Butler. Number 11, Andrew Proctor. Number 12, Phillip Wilson. Number 15, Stephen Robb. Number 17, Matt Stewart. Number 22, Matthew Livermore.
I'm going to get
23, Chris Kappa.
Go with me on the mum.
25, Julian Suarez.
I'll try.
Lewis Hill. Number 30, Blake Brewer. $33, Phillip option. Big, 34, James Device. 30, Brady Egan. 41, Cooper Shield. 55, Dylan Palmer. 25 years that the captain's been able to get up and receive a premiership medal at Tooradin, Dalmore. Gordon Kelly.
Thank you. Ball to the eye, touch out, powerful, strong play. You're pretty ambitious, you guys, so I'm not even back. The league put on the side, there's an unbelievable. I'm just going to call out Clue. She's got this multi-arm here. Like, unbelievable support. I'm just hard work, you've got to do this. It's only unbelievable. Thank you.
I guess the coach, what the Gillespie's doing in their mornings today. not many coaches in the last few years have won premierships at this squad, mate, to tell us all about it.
Thank you very much to the Phillip Island guys, your champion team that makes us realize to be better, and I know you'll come back stronger. Bo, thank you for the kind words. You've always been really helpful to me as well. So and good luck with whatever you end up going into. So yeah, for our boys, work their asses off, and all our support staff, every single person that's been here to help, all my coaches, and my long-suffering wife, wherever she is, Kate. Yeah, love you very much. There's only one person that really helped me with me through this time, so and my kids. So, and you boys, well done. So proud.
Captain Phillip a while, and I reckon the ones in the third having used not the best part of the night. In the bedroom, so Tooradin's the place to be tonight. Here it is, the two. Concludes our presentation. Thank you everyone again for coming out to Garfield. It's been a fantastic day. Drive safe, enjoy the night.